Hey guys, this is P.M.R.Bonez88, and today for my next superhero movie review that I'll be talking about today is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. Your favorite Ninja Turtles are back with a brand new movie, new adventure, and an old foe. The new director for making the second Ninja Turtle movie was Michael Pressman. Apparently he wanted to make it lighter because in the first one it was darker and it was too violent for the children, so he decided to make it based off the cartoon series, like make it lighter and fun for the children just to see and watch. But I liked it. It was one of my favorite movies. So now the Ninja Turtles are all back. Your favorite Ninja Turtle characters, Leo, Donnie, Mike, and Raph, they're all back, including with their Master Splinter and their friend April O'Neil, who she was apparently became a friend and an ally for the Turtles during the first movie, which I forgot to mention about her. So let me just do a little skim about April O'Neil. She's a news reporter, and she first met the Turtles, and she became a good friend to them and a great ally for them as well. Their hideouts, the Turtles' home, were like vandalized and destroyed thanks to the Foot. Now they're living at April's apartment just until they find their new home. So now the movie starts out where a new guy named a pizza delivery named Kino, he was a pizza delivery, and plus he also studies martial arts. He goes up, deliver the pizza for April O'Neil, and then all of a sudden he sees a van all mystery, and sees all the guys stealing something at the mini mall. He tries to stop them, and all of a sudden they said, this guy's a wuss, so they try to take him down, but he takes them down, only 3 of them, and then all of a sudden all the guys were there in these weird pantyhose masks. They couldn't find a regular mask, a bank robbery mask, instead of wearing those ridiculous pantyhose. Those were kind of ridiculous masks, and then until all of a sudden, guess who's there? The Turtles jump into action and beat the crap out of them. That was a great intro, seeing the Turtles show up and then just starts fighting all these thieves and robberies, and all of a sudden they start running away, but they fought back. Now there was a little difference about the Turtles. Somehow, 1 out of the 4 of the Turtles that do the voice did not return. The one that did the voice of Donatello was Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman, he did the voice of Donatello in the first one. He didn't return for the second one, so they had to replace somebody else. So afterwards, where the Turtles return to April O'Neil's apartment, they have some sliced pizza, they have fun, they go around being enjoying, and then they do talk about what happened when they defeated the Shredder. He fell down the garbage truck. Raphael was explaining to them and just showing off, just as always. Their personalities were different somehow. The Turtles, they usually their weapons, but they decided to use their wisecracking jokes. And Michelangelo, he barely fought. All he did was doing some wisecrack jokes or running away with the Foot Clan. He was just being his little party comedy crasher himself. Raphael, he barely does his own findings. He's barely a hardcore bad temper. That's what he was from the first one. But the only ones that remained the same were Donatello and Leonardo, because Leonardo was still the same born natural Leo, tries to take the Turtles real seriously, and Donatello's being his own computer geek scientist for himself as well. Their Master Splinter returns. He decides to talks about the Turtles, explain to them of their origins. Well, more of what happened to them, like how did they became the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, how they became all mutants, and where the ooze came from. So what he had the whole year, his whole time, was the broken canister that had the ooze in it. So he shows it to them, and it was made from TGRI, the company executive industry for making all these ooze happen. So that's where it all explains. So all this time, that's how they always wanted was questions, and they finally had the answer. Well, half of the answer. Ever since the first one, where the Shredder fell out in the garbage dumpster truck, and we thought that Casey opened the lever and just crushed him, which we all thought he was dead for good. Somehow he survived, so he came back out of the garbage, and the Foot Clan had their new layers, a new warehouse, a new hideout for them. So Tatsu returns, that's Shredder's servant. Tatsu returns and he's all angry, he's all pissed off after what the turtles did to him. And at first he was going to be the replacement, the new leader of the Foot Clan. But guess who finally returns and stands up to Tatsu? The Shredder. He finally returns, and now that he's back, now what he wants is revenge of what the turtles did to him. So what his vile plan was that he wants to capture this professor that makes all the ooze happen. So he captures him. What his vile plan was that he wants to create two mutant freaks against the turtles that are much more stronger and powerful than the turtles. So they chosen two live animals, a wolf and a snapping turtle, which he creates them with the ooze, and they transform into Toko and Razar. I just say Toko and Razar. They were both strong. They were both scary. Well, the snapping turtle wasn't that scary. Only the wolf was. But I really like the effects of the costumes. That's how they did it. At April's apartment, the turtles decide to leave and move out, find a new place to stay, until Kano shows up to deliver a pizza. She's always craving for pizza. That's always the turtles. So the turtles hide, and all of a sudden Kano sees Raph's foot tapping, and all of a sudden he just steps on it, and all four pop out, and including Splinter. Kano was all surprised seeing a giant talking rat and just simply faints. I don't know what is worse. Let me ask you guys this: what is worse, 4 walking talking turtles or 1 giant talking rat? What would you be afraid of? 4 walking talking turtles or a giant talking rat? Or all of the above? It could happen. Well, not really, but it was a movie, so. Splinter talks to Kano about his origin, about the turtles' origins, and give them their names. And Kano decides that he wants to study martial arts. So he wants to study martial arts, and he wants to go to join the Foot Clan. Splinter tries talking out of it, including Leo, but Raph defends Kano just to accept his offering, but Splinter says no, and Raph gets all mad and pissed off, just as always. And also, now the turtles, they decide to move out of April's apartment, and they decide to find their new home, their new lair, just to find a new lair, a new sewer home for themselves. So they go out searching for a new home, and Raph gets all pain and gets really all mad, and he decides to go up there and just to get even with the Foot Clan. So Leo and Raph, they argue just as always. They're back arguing at themselves. So Raph bails on them, and they go find a new lair, which is apparently an old abandoned railroad track. They finally found it, so that's their new lair, new home to stay with. Kano goes and joins up with these other group of people that want to join up with the Foot Clan. So Raph helps them out. He finally got in. And then when Kano joined up with the Foot Clan, he decides to go find Raph, and then they try to find out what was going on. So all of a sudden, Tatsu shows up, they get caught, and Raph faces the Foot Clan. He tries to fight them off one by one, just as always. But he barely fought too much. He was like more talking and less fighting. Well, he did both fighting and talking. In the first one, he was like fighting them off without using the wise ass crack jokes. But in the second one, he was being a wise ass wannabe turtle. So Kano just runs and tries to find the others, and Raph gets beaten down and gets all tied up. So Kano finds the other turtles and explain what happened to Raph. The others go find Raph, and all of a sudden it was an ambush, and they finally saw it was the Shredder, and he's back. It was the end of the line. We all thought that it was going to be the end of the turtles, that this was the end of the line of them, but until a big surprise, Splinter saves them. They were free, and they were fighting off the Foot Clan, and guess who decides to show up and join the fight? Toko and Razar. So they try to fight them, and all of a sudden they realized they were much tougher and stronger than the turtles. So they got their ass kicked. But Donnie finds the professor. They escape and retreat before Toko and Razar finished them off. So now they finally escape, finally save the professor. And then afterwards, the professor wants to help out the turtle, explain about their origins, how did it happen, and apparently the Ooze, they were a mistake, but Donnie didn't want to believe it. He didn't want to listen to what he said, so technically he was all upset. That really upset Donnie a lot, and it really troubled him too much. So almost at the end of the film, they decide to get even in order to stop Toko Razar. They made this some sort of a pill or a cube, something to. It was actually an antidote, and it hid them in one of those donuts. And they go in some sort of a garage, so they got fallen into the trap, and Toko Razar show up. So the turtles decide to give them the donut, which there was an antidote inside. One of them, they ate them one by one, and until they crushed the donut to see what was inside, and they saw it was the cube that was the antidote, and fortunately they got busted. So my favorite scene, two of my favorite scenes, of course, one is where Toko just grabs Michelangelo and spins him around, throws him right to the wall. That was extremely hilarious. Then the other scene was the club scene. That was my most favorite. It's where the turtles go into the club, and guess who's there? Vanilla Ice, and decides to makes up this ninja rap song. The title was called Ninja Rap. It was a combination between a music video and a movie. So while the turtles were facing off Toko and Razar, Foot Clan showed up, and the turtles fought them off one by one. And after that, they were just retreating, and then after they just started dancing, and Vanilla Ice was singing the ninja rap song, the Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go, Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go. That was the best scene ever. But after that ending, Shredder showed up, and he still wanted was his revenge, just to get even on the turtles. But then after, he was this close to he captured one girl, and he was gonna make her drink that last bottle of Ooze. And then all of a sudden, Donnie and Mike had an idea, so to get rid of the Shredders, Donnie pumped up the volume, and Michael was like jamming out with his instrument, and then boom, the sound woofer just like blew up right at Shredders, right behind Shredder, and just flew off at the window. That was the best scene. It was so hilarious. I was laughing after what Michelangelo just did to him. So before they go after Shredder, go out to see the Shredder was gone for good, they see Toko Razar back to their normal animal selves. They were back to normal, and then they gone out and see if the Shredder was dead. So they thought it was the end, and they finally defeat the Shredder, but surprise! It was the Shredder itself, but this time he was more bigger, stronger, tougher, and meaner. Now known as the Super Shredder. We always see him just at the end, just for a quick minute. He didn't really fight. The turtles didn't fight the Shredder, not what they did in the first one. Second one, all he did was just like destroying the bridge, the bottom of the bridge, just like breaking logs to logs, and everything was like falling down, and they were gonna be crushed into turtle pancakes. So they got away. The Shredder just like got killed and crushed with all the stuff, and all the logs and woods just like fell onto him and simply just died. So the turtle finally survived, and so they thought the Shredder was still up and he was still gonna go and face him, but right up until that last bam, that was the end of the Shredder. So after done talking about this film, this movie is comedy. It's much more comedy and fun action movie just to see. It was actually also my favorite movie, but it wasn't really better than the first one. The first one was much more darker and more action and violent, but the second one was like less violence and more action and children fun for the kids. So just to rate this film, I would give it a 80 out of 100. It's fun to watch, it's enjoyable, and it's a really good childhood memory just to see the turtles all in action. It was really great. And I do own this movie on Blu-ray and DVD. So the next time for my next superhero movie review that I'll be talking about by next week is The Toxic Avenger. And this is P.M.R.Bonez88's signing off and saying is, peace!